Former WWE and UFC Women's Champion Ronda Rousey has been out on her national burial tour. She's out promoting her new book, Our Fight, the sequel to My Fight. See, now she's being inclusive and bringing everybody else along. And while she's been out promoting her book, she has just been burying everybody. She's been going hard on WWE, Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard. She's accusing Drew Gulak of sexual assault with the drawstring gimmicks on her shorts in the hallway. And she's even been burying UFC and talking about how she had a concussion before she went out and had her fight. And she should have never been there. She didn't feel comfortable saying anything about it. And blah, 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 blah. All she's been doing is just running her mouth, and she's got a history of this. This is not new for Ronda Rousey. And finally, somebody spoke up. I actually covered a clip of Becky Lynch saying it nicely that Ronda Rousey couldn't really wrestle. That was a few weeks ago. I'll put that in the end cap, actually, if you want to check out more from that end. But now Jimmy Smith has thrown in his 2 cents on Ronda Rousey. Jimmy Smith, if you remember, had a cup of coffee as a WWE announcer on Raw. He's mainly an MMA guy, an MMA announcer, not an MMA fighter. And he did not hold back about his feelings and thoughts of Ronda Rousey on his YouTube channel. Check out this clip.
My comments about Ronda Rousey that I made on my SiriusXM show have kind of, gone viral, however you want to put it. Some articles have been written about it. And if you haven't heard it, what I said was the way she treated people at the UFC, the stories I heard from people at the UFC were indicative of her character. I don't talk out of school a lot. I don't talk about behind the scenes stuff because those are private conversations and I don't want to out anybody. And, I consider that unprofessional. But hearing her talk about her grievances over and over and over, when everybody that I spoke to, almost universally, behind the scenes, in the UFC, by the way, not the WWE, I didn't talk to anybody there about her, just had horror stories about how she treated them. You don't have to make it harder on everybody around you. Don't take it on the camera guy or the sound guy who's making, 1/100th of what you're making. You don't have to make his day harder. I've had to work for a living, so I understand what it's like when someone just craps on you for no reason. And Ronda Rousey did that all the time. I heard about her going off on the people cleaning the mats on The Ultimate Fighter. Like the janitor who's taking out the trash and you're belittling him, or I've heard these stories, man. And to me, nothing is more indicative of you and your character than how you treat people who can't fight back, who can't raise their voice to you and go, who do you think you're talking to? Because there's a problem between a cameraman and a sound guy and Ronda Rousey. They're going to get rid of the camera guy. They'll find a new sound guy. If Ronda Rousey's like, I don't like that guy, well, they'll find another sound guy. So you're in a very vulnerable position. You can't say, hey, how dare you speak to me that way? That doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't sit well with me at all. Wham. When you, from what I was told, denigrated a lot of people who didn't deserve it. So that's why I said what I said. I don't back off one iota about it. And those are my true feelings.
And this isn't anything new with Ronda Rousey. She has been a heel her entire career. People started getting behind her because she was kicking every woman's ass. Most people don't know this, or most people have heard, it's been a few years now. It's past that point where a lot of people know Ronda Rousey as just being this complaining ex-MMA bitch, or ex-WWE bitch online. But she was a destroyer in UFC. The women's division exists because of Ronda Rousey. Literally. And she went in there and just took everybody's arm off in the first round. And then she hit that brick wall with Holly Holm. Now, maybe she had a concussion or some shit. Who knows? Doesn't matter. She still went out there. She still did the fight. And you know what? She left after that. She didn't come back and try to work her way back up or contribute in any way, shape, or form. I think she lost another one to Amanda Nunes, and then she's like, all right, deuces, I'm out of here. The whole facade of the Ronda Rousey destroyer was destroyed. Women were coming up that had her number now. They were just better at it than she was. And, part of that might have just been Dana White feeding people to Ronda Rousey to begin with, because there wasn't a women's division. And women's MMA was definitely not anywhere near what it is now. So it took a while for people to catch up on the skill set, or the people with the skill set to come up through the ranks high enough to get that opportunity. I remember when she was going at it with Miesha Tate for a while. Miesha Tate was like her biggest enemy for a while, Cupcake. But she was basically untouchable in UFC until she was, and then she quit. And then she brought it over to to the WWE, and look, man, when she came in, it was fire. When she hopped that rail with The Rock and squared off against Triple H and Stephanie, they had something there. And apparently that was building up to a match that would have took place the next year or some shit like that. It was the same WrestleMania that Triple H wrestled Sting, I believe. And I think somewhere, don't remember where I heard, but it was the reason Triple H beat Sting was because the plan was to build him up to face, him and Steph to face The Rock and Rousey at the next WrestleMania. And they ended up doing the match with Kurt anyway instead of The Rock. And it was great. It was great. And people took to Ronda Rousey and thought she was just going to come in and be the next big star for the WWE too. But that never ended up happening. Her star power diminished in WWE. A lot. I would say her run in WWE hurt her star power. She was on the cover of magazines and everything. She had the video game cover for UFC. I'm telling you, she could have been any number. She could have went into being an action movie star. She dabbled in that, I think. Wasn't she in one of the Expendables movies or some shit like that? But she went the WWE route, and they just... Maybe it was partly them, but she didn't contribute anything either. Becky said she couldn't work. Becky said she was never taught properly, that it was just kind of those things like, oh, she's this great athlete who came in from UFC, and she looked amazing in her match with Triple H and Steph because it was choreographed as fuck, like the Logan Paul matches and stuff. And so they thought that she could just do this now, and she couldn't do this now. And it was everybody else's fault, and she had the ego backstage about it. You don't hear many people have many nice things to say about working with Ronda. Nobody ever says, oh, she was a sweetheart, or oh, this, that, the other thing. None of that. Got to the point where they stuck her with one of her best friends, Shayna, and just said, okay, you guys go play over here, and we'll, far away from everybody else's spotlight. Now she does this book, and she's out complaining about it all. Pointing fingers, doing accusations, the Drew Gulak thing. It's great that somebody finally stepped up and said, hey, you know what? This chick's kind of a cunt, and people should know about it. And Jimmy Smith took some heat for coming out and saying it, but he doesn't regret it. He doubled down on it. And he said he got a lot of private messages about people saying, yes, I agree. That's same experience with her. And I hate that. I hate these kind of people. Just because you're a celebrity, just because you're rich, you're not above anybody else. Talking down to the fucking janitor and shit, man. I'd be kicking it with the janitor. What's up with you, homie? Well, let's chat. Smoke a doob or something with the janitor, man. You know what I mean? Like, you're not above anybody. Just because you reached a level of success, you don't get to, like, talk down to everybody. And I hope that comes back to bite her in the ass in the end. I hope it ends up ruining her career. I hope that more people don't want to work with her because she's a cunt to deal with. And she ends up just sitting home on her fucking farm being a whiny bitch on the internet. And that's the extent of Ronda Rousey's future. I never liked her in the ring either, to be honest with you. She impressed me in she impressed me in a couple matches. But I don't know that she ever had it for wrestling. And she would do this stupid thing where she would adjust her. She's always picking at and pulling down and adjusting her wrestling gear. Like, if you don't want it to wedgie up into your thing, don't wear short shorts then. Wear tights. Do that. Fucking idiot. I don't know. I'll leave it there. Not a fan of Ronda Rousey. And the more I hear about her, the more that comes out about her, the more that she just opens her mouth, the more ugly she looks. And I'm not talking about looks. She's an ugly person, man. She's a mean person, as Jimmy Smith said. There's a meanness to her. And that's not good. That's unhealthy. And there's no room for it, and it shouldn't belong in a WWE locker room. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts on Ronda Rousey, both the person and or the wrestler. If you were a fan of her wrestling work, let me know in the comments below. And I'll leave that in the end cap if you're still watching here. Check out that one of Becky Lynch talking about Ronda Rousey.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah, and you can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Oh yeah, dig it.